So Josh, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Welcome aboard, dude. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sort of being a value contributor to all the groups you're in. You already mentioned it. You're probably in all the relevant bot groups out there. I ran into you probably about a year ago. You didn't even know it, but I sort of was browsing on Medium. I was reading your articles, which I picked up from the ManyChat community. And that's where I learned more about you. And to be honest, I don't know, it might be me, but I think now I get to know you better now, but I think you're one of the hidden gems in the bot build industry, in the messenger bot industry.
Appreciate that. I love the feedback.
Dude,
well, thanks a lot. You too. I think you've done a great job building this community and getting people really excited about the bot space and the future, and the enthusiasm's key.
It is, and I was talking to Manuel this morning. Well, we'll get there at some point.
Yeah.
And I told Manuel, literally, I truly get excited about sort of these automations and messenger bots and everything that we're working on. I don't know why it might be a weird thing, but it's genuine and it's true. And from that sort of that void that I see in the messenger bot space, I'm running Bots and Beers and Botfather, and I want to get people on board like we're here now, like yourself. I mean, as said, I think you're a hidden gem, and hopefully not as hidden as much.
Not too hidden.
No, not too hidden. No, by no means.
I put out a lot of content, so I'm not too hidden.
No, but that's good. And what I see, and again, it might be me, but I see you popping up more and more and more, which I think is awesome. And now you're here. Now you're in Bots and Beers, the Botfather. And what I want to do, what we want to do today is we want to add as much value to this call as possible. We have a clear focus. The focus is how can we build bots using Botsheets, Google Sheets, a touch of AI without sort of touching any code. The idea would be that you are able to show people how to build messenger bots that sort of immediately exceed everything that you can build by default in ManyChat. Sorry, you go, man. And I'm drinking beer at the same time.
Yeah, no, drink. I'm here to entertain you and everybody else. So yeah, definitely. I think in the last, obviously, I think the last month, my productivity has gone way up. Mostly just because I like locked myself in my basement. So you have a beautiful office there. I'm in my basement at home in lockdown, and that's kind of put me right into like content mode, and there's a lot of educational stuff. So a lot of the stuff that we do, and I'm going to share my screen and just get right into that.
Do it,
and then we can circle back after that, take questions, talk more. I'll have a virtual beer with you.
Yeah, perfect. Cheers. Thank you for your time and welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much. Enjoy that. And I will just,
for people that just came in, we got 33 people on here, which is awesome. There are people watching on the lives as well. Guys, if you got any questions, do make sure you drop them in the comments. I'll be moderating the comments, and we'll make sure that every question is sort of addressed before the end of this call. Josh, floor is all yours. Take it away.
Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, I can see your screen. The only thing you might want to put it in presentation mode.
Okay, I could do that. Okay, I'm gonna jump in and out of presentation mode. So there we are.
Perfect.
Okay, so I saw a quick question, and from somebody who's attending, and I just want to let them know that we're going to be talking about AI. That's my background. And conversational AI specifically, and we're going to talk about how to use AI with Google Sheets. And somebody said, is it a specific platform? Well, you'll see. The example that we're going to focus on is what you can do with ManyChat. specifically because the other product that I'm going to talk about here, Botsheets, which is for Google Sheets, only supports ManyChat. But Dialogflow, conversational AI, it's like when you build a house, right? The AI is like the foundation. It's the foundation of your conversation, and everything else you do is built on top of that. So currently co-founder and CEO of Janis.ai. These are some of the questions that we answer that is very common among people building bots and marketers and businesses and agencies. And, why are users not clicking our buttons? And how can we understand user input? And how can we automate our FAQs? And how can we really turn questions into commerce? And so the big question is, how fast can you achieve your automation goals? So you can do it without AI. If you're building a bot right now with like a ManyChat or ChatFuel, you can automate, but you can do things faster and get closer to your automation goals with AI. So what you really need is an AI brain to understand the intent of the user when they send messages to your chatbots. So let's look at real quick example. One user says, I'd like to order a pizza. Another user says, if I order a pizza, how long will it take? So the first user, their intent is to order a pizza. The second user has a question. And so just because both those messages contain the keywords order a pizza, doesn't mean you're going to be able to answer them. And so that's where most bots fall short of delighting users, is that they use, a lot of bot makers just use keyword rules. And if you're using keyword rules, then you can't tell the difference between these two questions. I would send somebody the first user through an order funnel and get them ordering pizza as quickly as possible because their intent is to order. And this, I'd have to answer a question. That's probably a frequently asked question if you're a restaurant. We're going to stay on restaurants as a theme for this whole presentation because I just did a presentation on restaurants.
And it's a hot topic as well.
Yeah, well, this is the niche that needs the most help, right? And it's also the biggest opportunity because what they need help with is making money fast. And the way to do that is to help them help a restaurant, or if you're a restaurant out there, is transition to be a transactional business. Add e-commerce for delivery or pickup, and you can do all of that through a bot. You can do it through a website too, but you can do it through a bot, and so it's just a use case that I've been really passionate about over the last few weeks, and I have a whole series of content going around it. And this is kind of the next step, is how do you bring AI into that? So
and we'll make sure that the content, I think that's the Medium posts, will be dropped in the unit section. We'll have a recording and we'll create a unit section where all the content is available, 100%.
Yeah, I got tons of free stuff for everybody at the end of all this. So everybody loves that.
Free stuff.
So you need to train an AI brain. I call it an AI brain. I like to take these sophisticated concepts. People are generally overwhelmed by this concept of artificial intelligence, and and we like to bring a lot of these concepts into a way that's easy for marketers to understand, because the technology is usually targeted towards developers, and the market that we serve and the market that you're communicating with right now through this and through all these communities, they're not developers. A lot of them, some have developer skills, but 98% of them don't. They're marketers. They're bot builders, and AI can be sophisticated, and so you want to make it easy. And I think it's important to note that it's not just about connecting to something like Dialogflow. The connection part is easy. It's how are you going to benefit from that technology? And it's really, you need to connect, fine. You need to connect to something like Dialogflow, and we'll get into that. You need to train, and you need to be able to retain your users through that process. And so we've used, just internally, we've used AI, and we've automated 90% of our lead generation with AI. So we rarely speak directly to users or make calls or chat live. we have AI that onboards and activates our customers. And then when it comes to customer support, it says we're like 60 or 70% now automation, and that's all using AI. And you have to look at it as a path to automation. It's not like Siri. It's not like,
no, sorry. No, sorry, you're not going to kick off with a 90% automation. You're gonna start off with a lower, probably with a lower percentage of an AI, sort of an AI automation. And as you learn,
yeah,
you become smarter, the AI becomes smarter, you're able to match the intents, and then you're moving forward. It's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process, and that's what we do with Janis. Is Janis helps people manage that process, right? And that process has a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, you're going to be more hands-on at first because you got to train and set things up and understand how it works. And then once you start going, your bot starts taking on more of the heavy lifting. The humans are less out of the picture, and so at some point, we're closer to, we're pretty far along on the curve ourselves, which has enabled us to grow really quickly and keep our operational costs down. So those are the goals with AI: boost revenue, reduce customer support costs, and we're kind of living proof that it works.
Yeah, and it's also look, the rule-based automations we built in ManyChat, they're a really good start. They're absolutely a really good start, and they definitely can solve solutions. But when you're getting a little bit more volume and you want to have sort of more complex solutions, then the rule-based bots are just not going to cut it.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, we built our Facebook bot with ManyChat and Dialogflow. So we see the value in ManyChat.
100%.
In any of these bot tools, but a lot of people use Janis like Zapier for AI. So when you connect all of these systems together, like ManyChat and Dialogflow and Botsheets, and then that's where the real magic happens, because you can really connect all of these pieces together and get the whole thing.
Magic. You're adding a touch of magic, and you are able to set yourself apart from the rest. And one thing you mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago, and that was interesting. You said, look, back in the days, early 90s, building websites was sort of, you had to be a magician to build a website.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2020, everybody can build a website. I'm not saying it's good, the website, but everybody can have a website up and running. Same thing with messenger bots. Messenger bots, building messenger bots. Look at platforms like ManyChat, ChatFuel. What else do we have? Enable someone to build a bot like this. I'm not saying it's a good one or whatever, but everybody can build a bot, and that's sort of the livelihood of the platforms as well. But
for sure, they make it really easy to build a bot. So, and if you're an agency, that means that you need to start thinking about how you can develop these higher level skills. And I'm so impressed that you remember that analogy with the website, because the second part of that is, it became, you had tools like Wix or Squarespace, or they made it, like, democratized and made it so easy to build a website. But the problem to solve was, the hard part was always getting your website found. And that's where SEO emerged as the high value skill. And that's the skill that businesses were willing to pay for. They didn't want to pay very much to get a website built, but they would pay a ton if you could, organically funnel those users into the website and generate leads. So same kind of thing here. They'll pay for Facebook advertising if you're an expert at that. And they'll pay for things like training, like Dialogflow training or AI training, if it means you can keep the user engaged in a conversation and get them closer to your automation goals.
Exactly, and solve more complex problems.
And so we're here, and this in Messenger right now. But when you build that AI brain, you can use that to understand messages from multiple channels. So obviously, I think Instagram is a huge opportunity, especially for conversational commerce. WhatsApp, people are excited about that. I know it's like, it's
a
big,
high volume platform,
big network, but I'm not as excited about WhatsApp as I am about Instagram. SMS, there's no buttons at all. So if you want to automate anything through SMS, you need AI. Otherwise, you can't. That's why ManyChat doesn't have that right now. It just goes right to your live chat. And then obviously there's the future, right? And I'm a big believer that voice is the future. So You build an AI agent that you use now with a ManyChat bot on Facebook. The same AI, all that time that you invest in training AI, will serve users through a totally different experience. You know, okay, Google, I want to order a pizza, and it's a voice interface, right? Or Alexa. So this is when I talk about foundational stuff for conversational experiences. That's what AI is. You build now, you can benefit immediately, but over time, and we'll be adding all these channels as well. So you can benefit from that. This is really cool. You can also train one AI brain to serve users interacting through multiple bots. So I think this is what you're doing with Manuel, if I'm correct.
Yeah, this is where you got me. This is where you got me a few months ago. Yeah, 100%. This is where we're focusing on now, and where we're sort of working with Manuel and with you and with Janis and with Dialogflow.
Yeah.
This is, for me, this is where you got me, to be honest. And this is the whole house building and website building analogy you shared with me, and this resonated with me because what I'm running into, and guys, let me know in the comments if this sounds familiar. You build a bot for a client, you deliver it, and there is not a sort of irrelevant sort of base or whatever you want to call it to actually have recurring revenue on it. Why? Because if it's built properly, it will work. You might have a month or so sort of post-purchase support on it, but that's about it. There's no way you can ask recurring revenue thousands of dollars a month to maintain a properly built ManyChat bot.
Yeah, for sure. I say template everything, but also when it comes specifically to AI, and we're going to focus on Dialogflow because that's leading conversational AI from Google. It is the most compatible with the platforms that people are using.
Let's clarify that, Josh. Let's clarify that. You didn't build AI. I didn't build AI. Google did. And Google.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Who's gonna, who would you bet on for the future of AI? Would you bet on like some unknown company? Like even if ManyChat built their own AI, would you bet on that, or would you bet on Google, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Microsoft or IBM. So fortunately, you can leverage the AI used by the biggest brains in the world, and that happened to be my next slide. ManyChat bot.
Josh, hold on. Let me just sort of, because we're getting sort of stuck in our own bubble here. Rob, asks, what is Dialogflow? And that's a great question. I think we've addressed this, but let me just sort of loop back to this. Rob.
Yeah. I've got a whole presentation on it too, because I expected there would be a lot of people that wouldn't know what it was. So
yeah, so quickly, Dialogflow is an open source project from Google, which allows us, you, Rob, Josh, me, to actually tap into an AI, and the AI is powered by Google. So if you're using Google Voice, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, Google Voice is powered through Dialogflow.
Yeah, a Google Assistant, those and all the various like voice activated devices, they all use Dialogflow. There's no keyword rules or anything like that to make those work. Same with Amazon Alexa. Yeah. It's powered by conversational AI. Yeah. And the actual technology, and then also this happens to be the next slide here for me, is it's called natural language processing, right? And so what it does is, it's not rule-based, or at least if there's rules, it's much more flexible, and you can it's much more powerful.
Could you elaborate for a minute on, because I know a lot of people use rules, want to use rules. I personally don't like rules. Could you elaborate, I don't know, a minute or so, whatever, on why rules are not the best option to automate your ManyChat flows or your messenger flows?
Keyword rules?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought I covered that. I mean, I can go back here just to show you. I mean, this summarizes the whole thing with keyword rules. User says, I want to order a pizza. Another user says, if I order a pizza, how long will it take? The intent of those users are different. Exactly. Even though they both contain, those messages both contain order a pizza, which might be a keyword rule that you would set up in ManyChat. If you have a keyword rule, order pizza, and a user says, if I order a pizza, how long will it take? And you take them through a purchase flow to order a pizza, they're going to be frustrated. And so that's the biggest problem that's why users hate chatbots, because, and when I say that, I mean because bot builders take the quick and easy path to get a bot to market. They're not thinking about what users want and how to respond to them. And so a lot of that has to do with, you need Dialogflow to understand the messages users receive. And ManyChat's really good at starting conversations. So, you run an ad and you get somebody to click a button and you get them into a conversation. So you start the ad, right? Or you start the conversation. It's always initiated by the marketer, right? You broadcast a message and get a user to click back. But what if the user reaches out and has a question, right? How are you going to answer that question? You can't.
No,
you can't do it accurately.
Exactly. So what happens now when somebody reaches out, the default reply fires the default reply. If set properly, it might have some context, then you're off to the live chat. But with AI/Dialogflow, or with AI powered by Dialogflow installed, when somebody reaches out, and I name that sort of breaks out of a flow, we are able to actually sort of understand the intent of the question and so fire off related flows that are built in ManyChat. So it works together 100%.
Yeah, you have a better chance at understanding the user if you have Dialogflow connected to a ManyChat bot. That's the short answer. And then I'll show you, and we'll get to it in a minute, but once you connect Botsheets to ManyChat as well and Dialogflow, then you have 3 ways. You have more, like, it opens up more possibilities to respond. So let me just fly through this real quick, because I just want it for those who want to know, like, Dialogflow is the conversational AI used by the biggest brands in the world. So Domino's Pizzas uses it, and when you connect Dialogflow to ManyChat, a local pizzeria uses it. So these are two, a very large company and a very small company can benefit from the same technology. And just to understand Dialogflow, it uses natural language processing to understand the messages, and you can get actionable data right out of messages, right? So if a user sends a message, you can get data out of those messages, and you can store those data as values in ManyChat. And then when you connect something like Botsheets, which is it's basically a content management system for ManyChat using Google Sheets, you can create dynamic responses. And so that was our interest, is that we had a lot of users connecting Dialogflow to ManyChat, and they could create responses, like use Dialogflow to understand the user, use ManyChat to respond to the user, but they wanted more control over the ability to respond and create dynamic responses. So that's why we integrated with Botsheets and did this, and then you have like happy users on Messenger.
Well, the beauty of this sheet is, just if you go one back, it's super short, is if you look at this slide, it's not going to replace ManyChat or whatever tool we're using. It works together with ManyChat. It works together with the tool the majority of us are already using, and it enhances the actual flows that and the workflows we already have. So I just want to sort of touch upon that.
Yeah, absolutely. All these systems are great, and they all serve a very specific function. And Janis is kind of like a Zapier for AI. So we connect them all together.
Yep.
And make users really happy when they send your messages, messages. Just real quick, Botsheets, you probably have heard of it already, but essentially it's dynamic content made easy. So it takes, you might have, like, you try and do dynamic content in a ManyChat flow, and it gets really messy and hard to manage. You can see, this flow right here on the left with Botsheets, it's just one request, and all of that content is managed from a Google Sheet. So it makes it really easy, and they're like templates. You just plug in data, and it just works. I call Google Sheets, not, whether you're using Botsheets or using Integromat with Google Sheets. I mean, I think Google Sheets is it's like the database for chat marketers, right? And it's really good for like lightweight content. You can have I'm just gonna go back here, but like, a menu, right? Like a restaurant menu, or like real estate listings, or gym classes or spa services. I mean, there's so many different niches that could benefit from just simpler content management, frequently changing content too, right?
without, and this is the kicker, without having to tap into a database or without touching any code. Everything happens in Google Sheets. Sure, there is a learning curve, 100%, but and you don't need a developer. You don't need to outsource this to any team, sort of development team. Everybody can learn this if they are willing to sort of go through the learning curve and they get it up and running, 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say Botsheets. The one thing that they do, or that product does really well, is that everything's like templated.
Yep.
So you never like have to like set up a Google Sheet from scratch. You can just plug in data into a variety of templates. If you're a ManyChat user, you can use custom user fields in text responses. You can set custom user fields right in the Google Sheet. You can add tags, remove tags. You can do all the things you would want to do directly in the sheet.
Yep.
And then I call it an invisible product because there's no, it just takes the existing ManyChat Google Sheet integration and it puts it on steroids. So it's like, it feels very native. You build everything right into your flows, right? There's no system to log in. There's no other files or anything. It's the products are Google that you see and use are Google Sheets and ManyChat, and Botsheets is kind of just connects those two together and uses the power of both of those systems to help you build better dynamic experiences. So yeah, ideal for frequently changing content. This was here, that was that menu we looked at. That was like the Google Sheet menu. And you can load up a menu and then you can, generate a dynamic gallery. So here's a couple of ways. This is just like a gallery of food, and you can have, browse by category. You might have like a dynamic gallery of categories. Here's ManyChat and Botsheets without Dialogflow. Okay, so you would have a step in a flow, and it's a user input step that might ask, what would you like to order? And then you would wait for user input. The user would type a message like, I want a burger. And then you would actually be able to search a Google Sheet and get a hamburger from the Google Sheet. So that's one of the things that Botsheets does is you search a Google Sheet, right? Now this is Botsheets and Dialogflow. The user just types the message, I want a burger. It's not a user input step. It could be any point in your conversational experience, and it'll do that result. So did you notice, this is a GIF I have looping here. So you see here that he's got these quick reply buttons. The user like changes their mind and they send a message, right? And that message would typically just hit your default reply in ManyChat, and you'd be like, sorry, I don't understand that. Well, that's where bots fail, right? So here's what this does. Here's what Dialogflow does. All your messages get sent through your default reply. And they get relayed to Dialogflow. So at any point the user types a message, it's going to get sent to Dialogflow, and Dialogflow is going to try and process that message. Here's one here. You could use quick replies, right? Without Dialogflow, okay? So this was in my original version of the restaurant template that I built using Botsheets and ManyChat. User clicks a button. Okay, I'm adding 2 hamburgers because the user clicked the button 2, right? Well, what if they just send a message like, I need 2 pizzas, right? Okay, one moment. And so then it'll show the pizzas, right? You click add to order. And look at that, 2 pizzas were added to the order. I didn't even need to click a button because the values that I needed to be able to produce that response were extracted directly from the message.
Yeah, so they are sort of set up in Dialogflow or in Botsheets or both. So that's where they work together.
Well, yeah, none of it's actually, there's a couple, I'll explain how it's working, but there's, the number is a variable. Could be 2, could be 200, could be 2,000. I need to get that number extracted from a message and then saved in ManyChat. Mm-hmm. That gives me the quantity, right? Pizzas, that's an item of food that I want to search for. And so I'll pass that value to Google Sheets. So that's how I get the pizzas, but the quantity is already saved. I was just using Dialogflow. It's extracted directly out of the messages. See?
So you're actually using Dialogflow to understand the intent of the actual message.
Well, I'm using Dialogflow in this case to understand. I have to understand the phrase. I need X of something, right? I need a quantity of something, of anything, right? That's what Dialogflow does. But all those inside of that message, they're variables.
Yep.
Okay. So values were automatically extracted from the user's messages. Order 4 pizzas, right? These are highlighted. This is in Dialogflow. You have these phrases, and these words are called entities. Okay, and when an entity, oh, and sorry, let me go back. These highlighted words are called entities. You see entity, product.
Yep.
And when somebody triggers this Dialogflow intent, all right, a value is going to be extracted and saved in what's called as a parameter. And a parameter is exactly the same thing as a custom user field. In fact, oops, hang on. In fact, if the parameter name is exactly the same as your custom user field name, then the value that you get, in this case, you know, if it's 4 or 5 or 500 or 5,000, whatever that is, that value that can be extracted, it's saved directly in ManyChat. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
You use Dialogflow to get possible values out of messages, and use those. Once those values are saved in ManyChat, then you can build more intelligent responses, right?
Hey, Rob's got a question here. What if you make an error and type 200? Can you change this from 200 back to 2?
Yeah, of course. You can do anything. You can change anything. It's just a value, right? So let's say the user says 200. You could just respond with, okay, you know, if this user says I want to order 2,000 pizzas, right? Then it's just a matter. It's just a matter of once you get that number, that data stored in ManyChat, then you can just respond with, you know, are you sure you want to order 2,000 pizzas?
Yeah, exactly. So if
right?
it's a certain number, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing is it's a number type field, right? So if you really want to get that sophisticated, you can put a condition that says, is the number greater than
exactly
50? And if it is,
I've learned. This is something I've learned sort of as we go. 2 things here I've learned is everything you see on the screen here is templatized. So you don't have to build this yourself. You install this, you import this, and it's ready to go. From there, you build upon it. And you still build your own flows that are fired by Dialogflow. And you can sort of do whatever you do within those flows.
So that's one of the things that we've learned over the last little while is that it takes time to understand this stuff, and it takes time to train. And so one of our goals as Janis is helping businesses accelerate their time to value from the technology. So how quickly, who cares if you can connect it? Like, who cares if you have a native Dialogflow connection or not? Because what's really important is how fast can you benefit from the technology. If you connect Dialogflow, you have no idea what you're doing, you have no idea how to train, or you can't pause Dialogflow or retain your users, then that integration is useless, right? So what we do is we build Dialogflow templates. In fact, a lot of our templates we give away for free. And for all the people that actually sat here and watched this, you're going to get my restaurant template for Dialogflow for free.
That's
so
awesome.
That's what it is. It's all about how do you get value out of the technology.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I'm working on Dialogflow for e-commerce and building that master brain, which we saw in a couple of sheets before, and it saved me and my team so much time because everything is templated. One thing, and I just want to set the expectations here, guys, and Josh already said it, you will need to train, you will need to build. It's an ongoing process, but the heavy lifting to start is done for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things, whatever you like, what Janis does is we built this thing called an AI starter kit. And the AI starter kit it's like pre-trained AI that'll understand the most common things that users say to bots. So 100 different ways users say yes, 100 different ways users might say no. These are things that users type into bots, or you know,
you
100 different greeting messages. And so we give that away for free because we want people to not just connect Dialogflow, but immediately benefit from it. So they can start sending their messages to their bot right away and get like AI powered responses. And then you're right, it's a foundation that you build on.
Yeah. And I love it. I mean, I love it. I didn't know what I got into when we started this, but what can I say? I mean, I'm doing this with the team, and we hit the ground running 100%. So, guys, if you're
how are we on time, by the way? Just
we got until we're until the beer's finished.
What's that? How fast do you drink?
I don't drink. I'll do it slow. We got some questions going on here.
Okay. Well, why don't I can? You know what?
You go.
I'll leave this deck, which goes into much more depth about how Dialogflow works and how it connects to Botsheets, and we can just talk and answer questions. Does that sound good?
That's good. Nikki Dunn's got a question. I'm new with building chatbots and work with the car sales industry. This would be much better than piecing it together through ManyChat. Nikki, just to sort of iterate on that, you'll need ManyChat. Well, technically you don't need ManyChat, but my advice would be, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, to use a tool like ManyChat to actually tap into Dialogflow and Botsheets. So ManyChat is your driver, and Botsheets and Dialogflow and Janis templates are sort of the touch of magic you're going to add to your ManyChat flows.
Yeah, I mean, we get into this debate all the time, right? Like with Janis, you can connect a Dialogflow agent to Facebook in one click, right? But it's not going to give you. You're going to feel like you're missing things without ManyChat. The flow builder is excellent. They've got all the marketing tools. I mean, people call ManyChat a bot builder. I think of it more like a conversational CRM, right? You store data. You can manage you've got user profiles full of data, and you respond to them. So it's kind of like it's a marketing tool without AI. Dialogflow is like AI without the marketing tools, and Botsheets is just is like a database for content, because it doesn't make sense to build dynamic content right into your ManyChat flows. Everyone knows what a pain that is, right? Like you can't. There's no database feature built into ManyChat. Well, at the same time, it's hard if you work just with Dialogflow. It's hard to connect a database. You need to have developer skills to do that.
Exactly.
Dialogflow is sophisticated, but powerful. And so, yeah, when you combine all these things together, it's really great. Like,
and that's the whole thing. We're building sort of a hybrid thing here. Think about the restaurant flows Josh just described here. I mean, there are quite a few sort of workflows and problems we can solve with your basic sort of ManyChat setup, 100%. But what happens when somebody breaks out of a flow? What happens when somebody types instead of taps? That's when flows break. That's when bad user experience happens. And that is where we can sort of tie in Dialogflow Botsheets to keep that conversation going and add value and actually sort of make something awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing. It's about making. When I say we've automated 60 or 70% of our customer support, we didn't do that with just ManyChat. We didn't do that with just Dialogflow, and we didn't do that with just Botsheets. We used all three of those things. And I'll just give you an example of how we were able to do that. This is just a real thing. Can you still see my screen here?
I don't see it. It could be my. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. I'm good. You're good.
Okay, so this is our Janis bot on Facebook. We've got ManyChat, and it sends and messages. Our default reply. Anytime somebody sends a message, the message gets relayed to Dialogflow through our default. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go to Dialogflow, and we've got 10 pages. We've got like, I don't know, whatever, 250 intents, right? Where we understand what users say, right? There's tons of. Look at this. Look at that.
Could you
anything relating to customers?
This is crucial for people to understand because we're talking a lot about Dialogflow, but what is the AI? And when you see it, it's sort of what I found it was easier to understand when I see it, because if you open up an intent, you can actually see the types of questions intents without going into sort of system fields and custom fields. I just want to show sort of a list of types of questions Dialogflow.
That's it. I mean, and you'll see. I'm gonna have it when you get. I'm not gonna spend time on my deck because I explain it in much more granular detail in my deck. But I like this back and forth discussion, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna show you real quick and leave the deck after if people wanted to go through.
Well, it will be available for everybody. Awesome.
But yes, an intent looks like this. You have all the things that users say. These are training phrases. And there's other data that you can, these are like data gets stored into these like parameter names, which are like custom user fields. And that all happens automatically when users, say one of these phrases. And then you can respond with text in Dialogflow, or you can, respond with a ManyChat flow. And so I just wanted to show you what happens is if we use Dialogflow as the front line of support. So in other words, Dialogflow will attempt to understand the user, but of course, training takes time.
Yeah, and so question from Søren Muller, how do you train the bot?
You train the bot by adding things that users say and creating intents and entities. And I can, my deck will explain that and have tons of content. That's a whole other session. We have a couple of courses coming on that, but training AI is what you need to do. You need to, just like you have to build out flows, you have to build out your intents.
Yeah, so that's all. And guys, again, I'm going to set the expectation. There's a lot of work you need to do besides. So after you install these templates, etc., you need to. So what Josh just showed you, those intents, where he said you can fire off a message in Dialogflow, or you can connect to a ManyChat flow. You would have to build those flows. You build the flows for your business, for your look and feel, for your tone of voice, etc.
What I would say is to that person, I would say is go install the AI starter kit for ManyChat from Janis. It's free, and we've pre-trained the AI for you. So you'll benefit immediately from it. You'll see how we set it up. You'll be able to. We have tons of video content, tutorials, courses on how Dialogflow works, and you'll learn from that. And you guys, I know you and Manuel have already got some amazing templates in the work too. So you won't have to start.
We focus on the e-com versus the restaurants.
Yeah.
So it's same but different. So the initial starting process is the same. We use your work to hit the ground running. From there, we have a baseline where we can build upon, and that's just saving us tons of time. And yeah, again, we're able to hit the ground running. That's more what it is.
But yeah, so you'll need Okay, so anyways, what happens is when Dialogflow, so we've trained our bot by adding intents and categorizing the things that users say so we can understand messages, right? That's like AI, that's like Dialogflow training in like the shortest description possible, right? But because training takes time and the bot doesn't necessarily, we haven't trained it fully, and it's it'll hit our default fallback, which is exactly the same as a default reply. So, your default reply in ManyChat, well, Dialogflow has that too. So messages get sent through your default reply. They get sent to Dialogflow. If Dialogflow can't understand the user's message, then it hits a default, basically a default reply in Dialogflow. And then what we do is we send the user right back here. This is a redirect to a ManyChat flow. And we have this flow. And what do? We search the Google Sheet. And we just take the user, this is the last text input that the user sent. And we do a keyword search with that text on the Google Sheet. And then what we do is in our Google Sheet, we have a whole knowledge base of how of articles, videos, tutorials, flows. And so that's what we do is we give the user a dynamic gallery with Botsheets that gives them options. So it's not hit or miss. It's not like, sorry, I didn't understand that. It's like, oh, if it hits an intent with Dialogflow, great, that's a hit. But if it doesn't hit with Dialogflow, we redirect back to ManyChat, search a Google Sheet. We have all these keywords, and then we can deliver relevant options. Oh, this is, it's more like search results, right? It's like when you search Google, you're never going to get the exact
Why didn't
result.
you have this in Dialogflow?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't you have this in Dialogflow?
Have what in dialogue?
Well, when you say, okay, so let's say if Dialogflow isn't able to understand the intent, then we're bypassing to Google Sheets, or we're reverting to Google Sheets, do a lookup, and then sort of reply with content. Why wouldn't you do that 100% in Dialogflow?
This content?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's dynamic content. You need to, it's a dynamic gallery. So there's 100 different rows of content here, and a ManyChat gallery only gives you up to 10 cards.
Got it.
So what this does is it'll generate a gallery with 9 cards of relevant content, and if there's more than 10 results, then the 10th card will dynamically generate another gallery with more. Like, it's like pagination for search results, right? But it's all done through a gallery. So think of Google Sheets here like a database or an index of content. Think of the gallery as a way of accessing that content dynamically, and it's dynamically generated. And we only load that when Dialogflow doesn't understand. But you can, if you just chat with our Janis bot on Facebook, you'll see what that's like. It just.
What's the URL of the page, Josh?
It's m.me/getjanis. Let's
say.
But you can, try and say something, like, I don't know, ask questions like, how do I train a bot? Like that was a question a user had. You can ask our Janis bot on Facebook, and if it doesn't have a response in Dialogflow, it'll search the Google Sheet and dynamically generate search results in a gallery in Messenger with options for the user. So our users almost rarely get that, sorry, I didn't understand that message.
Dude, it's on fire. I got a couple questions here.
And that's how you get to a certain level of automation that's 60 or 70%. It's because you're able to cover as many.
How long does it take you to get to that 60, 70%? Give or take.
I think that, well, with Botsheets, it got us there pretty quickly, just because we were able to fill the void for all the Dialogflow stuff. But with Dialogflow, I think we got, even if we got to like 50% with that, which I think we did, it took us about a year. Now, the reason it took us about a year is because we needed to collect data. Like we could take all the messages that users send, and like that's what Janis does. It'll give you every time your bot doesn't understand, it alerts you and says, "Oh, train your bot." Right? Here's what the user said.
Yeah.
Like that's what we do. We make that part easy. But you could enter messages into these like as training phrases, and you can do that now. But what we do is, because we did it over a year, because we aggregated thousands of messages from our users. And so we have actual real world data to work with. And so all the templates that we sell are based on, they're based on actual messages that people send. And it's anonymous data too. So we're not like, there's no like
on a personal level.
Yeah, there's no person. It's just like the most common messages that users say statistically.
We got a few questions in regards to training. Mary asks here, hey, does the AI, wherever it is to learn, does the AI learn to combine intents without human intervention? Not sure if I understand the question.
So I think she's talking about self-training. Like, does it learn on its own? Does that seem like? Yeah,
does the AI learn to combine intents without human intervention? Not 100% sure. Mary, oh shit. Mary, if you're still here, just could you clarify your question there? Greg's got a question. If I want to build a client bot using Dialogflow, does the client have to have a Dialogflow account, or does he have to have, or do I have one account for all my bots? What type of cost does this add? So first part of the question is, does a client have to have a Dialogflow account?
Do they have to have a Dialogflow then? No. I mean, if you use Janis actually will, and you're a bot maker, you're whatever.
or you're doing it on behalf of the client,
Yeah.
Janis will set you up with an AI account in Google Cloud and create your Dialogflow agent for you.
Yeah.
Your client never even has to log into Dialogflow.
Exactly. Greg, so here's what we're doing. We're building the B for E, bots for e-commerce. We're using Dialogflow. We have a master brain. The master brain is specifically AI based on Dialogflow, based on Josh's templates, trained for AI. And we connect, so when people purchase our templates, we connect them to our Dialogflow, let's say master brain. They're not going to touch or they're not going to see anything. Well, they're going to see Janis maybe because they need a Janis key if they dive into the.
Yeah, if you're a bot maker, you don't want your clients touching this, and they should just see the magic. That's what I
exactly.
Show them the magic. Show them the magic. But this is like, it's like when you go to a restaurant, right? And you sit down at a table, and they bring you a beautiful plate with the food nicely prepared. But if you're a bot maker, it's like the kitchen, right? Don't let them in the kitchen. You don't want them. You don't want your clients in your ManyChat flows either.
No, you don't want them to touch it.
Then they'll see how easy it is to build a bot with ManyChat. So I would never let my clients into a ManyChat flow ever.
Hey, Greg, to answer your question, there is Dialogflow. Yes, you can have one account for all your bots, for all your Dialogflow connect. You can have one Dialogflow account where you can connect all your bots to whether it's, let's say, one for one niche. That's how we set it up. What's the cost of this? Joe, you want to sort of elaborate a little bit on the costs for Dialogflow?
Dialogflow is free.
There you go.
Dialogflow is free. So, Janis has a free tier as well, just kind of like as an AI management thing. But yeah, Dialogflow is free, and it's free because Google targets large enterprises. So a lot of the companies that are using ManyChat are below the sort of radar of Google's paid plan. They have an enterprise plan, but none of the people that are using Dialogflow with ManyChat or Chatfuel would be on an enterprise plan. There shouldn't be.
Just make sure you check it out because we got some questions going on here. This sounds like making bread. You have to have the master starter, and then you make other little master brains.
No, it's one brain.
Yeah,
it's one. Think of it this way. This is a better analogy. It's like one brain, and you train that one brain, and you can have an army of chatbots connected to that brain. Every one of your all of your bots can have different responses for different clients, but the messages that users send those bots are always the same.
Exactly.
So you could have 100 different restaurants. People are going to have the same questions. Can I order this? When's my order going to get here? Yep. I ordered it and it was terrible. Can I get a refund? Those are all messages that users send all those bots. And you can use one Dialogflow agent to understand all of those messages. Just your responses are going to be different. So what you do is you create like a ManyChat template with your responses, and then you customize. You install that ManyChat template to all those Facebook pages, and you customize your responses for each client.
Yeah, because the intent is the same. Doesn't matter for what page, but what you need to do, you would have one brain per niche. So you would have an e-com brain, you have a restaurant brain, you would have a gym brain, whatever.
That's exactly it. And that's what we advise. That's what I advise people. Those are the types of people that I spend my time working with.
Yep.
Is helping people grow large networks like that, like helping them you're building a you're building an e-commerce network, right? Or I work with guys and they go after all the real estate agents.
Yeah.
So they train like a Dialogflow agent to serve the entire real estate niche. And the time that they invest in training, even though it takes time, their entire portfolio of real estate agents, they all benefit from that investment of time. So you train one brain, all of your clients benefit from that AI.
And that's the beauty. And how I explain this, let's say we're building the e-com thing, and let's take the US as an example. If on Monday morning 9 a.m. a question is asked in New York, and the bot for some reason Dialogflow didn't understand it, and the bot builder trained the AI specifically on that question at 1 p.m. on the other side of the US, when the same question is asked, the brain will understand and will reply accordingly. So that's how everybody will benefit from your main brain. And this is what I think is epic.
Yeah, it's a really you guys have done a great job, and Manuel's an expert, and so I've known him for a long time as well, and so it does take a little bit of time.
It does
to sort of wrap your heads around it, but it's so worth it, right? There's if you're an agency and you go give them and you go present a bot to them, like demo a bot to a client, and then the client sends the message a bot and your bot fails. Your bot doesn't understand. Even things like, just like little things, then that's like, that's the worst situation, the most awkward position you could be in as an agency pitching a client. But if you have a Dialogflow and you've been investing time in training that AI, then every time you go pitch a bot, your clients are each pitch gets better as your AI gets smarter. And you've used some of our pre-trained AI, and a lot of it's free, then you can start pitching right away.
And that's the whole thing. So we're talking about these master brains here, guys. You don't have to build a master brain. You don't have to sort of have the ambition to have 100, 200, 500 shops. No, just start with this, get on these templates and start playing around with it and see what it does. There is a learning curve, but do this if you sort of want to stand out of the crowd. Do this if you want to sort of accelerate yourself as a bot builder or even as a chat marketing agency, whatever. Look, the hard work is done for you. That means there's a base when you're using Josh's templates. But from there, the other hard work is required. Nothing comes for free in that sense.
Well, and this is the thing. I want to add one thing here. I'm determined to get everyone to learn Dialogflow. In fact, so much that at Janis, what we're doing is we're building a learn and earn program. So we're going to reward you with free credits on our platform if you learn Dialogflow. That's how it's going to work. So you'll be able to watch a video. It'll be hands-on. Then you'll do a quiz. You'll earn points, and then you'll earn when you at the end of the quiz, and then you'll redeem those points for free credits with Janis. I want people to, if people don't benefit or understand how it works, then it doesn't help us. So exactly. we want to help people learn.
Question, Victoria, in cases where the user, this is your 3 strikes out answer, I'm pretty sure. In cases where the user's intent keeps getting misinterpreted after a certain number of attempts, and the user would be connected to a live person, live chat, once the intent is understood, does it then get added as an intent? I don't understand the live person, live chat here, but how I interpret your question, Victoria, is if somebody asks a question, the bot doesn't understand the question, when is it going to sort of hand over the reply to a human?
Yeah, so it's just on how you structure that, right? Like we do that in our AI starter kit, which is like templated. It'll do that. The user will send a message. If it doesn't understand it the first time, it'll ask the user to rephrase the message, right? They don't, because sometimes users send really long messages, and that's like AI is not sophisticated enough to understand like long paragraphs. So you can say, can you rephrase that and keep it short? Then if they send a message again, then you can do a bunch of things. You can search a Google Sheet. You can notify an admin and take over live. So just give the user a couple of chances, and then over time you'll understand what users say and what you need to train. And then training it's really as easy as like adding phrases like.
Yeah, so that's the other part of Victoria's question. Does it get added as an intent?
Not
yes,
automatically.
Exactly. That's what I want.
You have to decide what the AI is going to learn, right?
Exactly.
You can't let the AI determine how your business is going to work.
Oh, dude, but this is a crucial sort of thing we need to understand. AI is built by us. AI is trained by humans. We decide what the AI does. We decide if this happens, and then the AI should do this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing so there's no sort of free lunch there. We need to work.
Yeah. It's human assisted, right?
Yeah.
But it's also AI can help with your live chat time too, right? So like one of the things you can do is, let's say your Dialogflow doesn't understand the user, and you're a ManyChat user, right? And you know, the message hits Dialogflow, doesn't understand, and then the users keep sending other messages. Well, you can pause Dialogflow directly in the Facebook inbox. So you can pause all your automated responses just by sending the user a message in the inbox. A lot of people don't know that because you can't do that with ManyChat. You have to actually use ManyChat's interface to pause your automation. But if all of your messages are getting sent to Dialogflow, then directly in the Facebook inbox, you just send a message, it'll pause your automation, you start chatting live with the user, and then after 10 minutes of inactivity, your AI responses will automatically resume.
There's a lot of questions, Josh, about training here, and MK's got a question in the Facebook group. So you train the bot by leaving it running, and then in the background analyzing what people are typing and assigning intents to them. Once you have a large enough database of intents, the bot can start learning and on its own and extrapolating from there. The bot doesn't learn on its own. That's something we need to understand.
You have to train the bot.
Exactly.
You tell the bot what you want it to understand and how it's going to respond.
Okay, let me give you
when we talk about the AI, don't think of it like Hollywood AI, like Black Mirror or Terminator or whatever. It's practical technology right now that allows you to enter things that users might say. You can do that up front. You can like create that, like you don't have to wait, you know, like pre-train your AI, or you can do it on an ongoing basis. Well, you're going to want to do it on an ongoing basis. You're going to want to, but you define what the AI should do. The technology is it's just powerful enough. It's not rule-based. It's not if this, else that. It's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Let me just give you a case. Something we worked on today is, so somebody goes to your bot, they ask a question, it's not rule-based, they're not going through a flow, it's going to hit the default reply. The default reply is connected to the AI is going to try to understand the intent. It doesn't understand. The user replies again, it doesn't understand again. Yeah. Now, what happens at that time, that's how you've designed it for us, and we're going to iterate on that, is when the AI isn't able to respond to a question, that specific question is going to be parsed to a Google Sheet. From that Google Sheet, we are able to daily or per hour see what questions were the bot wasn't able to answer, and we can now train the AI based on those questions. And now the next time that question is asked, boom, it should be able to sort of fire the correct flow.
Yeah, and I guess the easiest way for people that have never heard of Dialogflow or understand what it can do, I look at it this way. If you're already setting up, you're already probably used to setting up keyword rules, right? In like ManyChat. Imagine if your keyword rules actually worked. Imagine if your keyword rules were like 100 times better than the way they are now. Imagine if you had phrases in those keyword rules, and you could extract like variable data, like numbers or countries. So if I say, you know, do you ship to Canada? And Canada could be any possible country that the user says. I only need one message. I only need to know that a user says, can I ship to a country? And whatever country they say, that's all I need is one phrase. I don't need, you know, how many countries are there? I don't know,
a lot.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of countries. So I don't need a phrase for every one of those countries. I need one phrase, and then in that whatever that country is, that's variable. So you can automatically extract a country or a number or a date or any list of possible things like a restaurant menu, or you know, I want to order pizza from some, you know, like major franchise. It'll automatically search a list of like 200 franchises. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna interrupt here
Yeah.
quickly, because we're an hour in and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. We got 40 people on the show, which is awesome. What I want to do is if some, because people are dropping off, we're an hour in now. I just want to take this sort of, I just want to take this time. Josh, do you have any URLs? First of all, there will be a recording. We're going to upload the recording to the unit section in the group. With that, we're going to have all the URLs and everything you need available for you. Josh, now, do you have any URLs you want to share? You can share here in the comments that people sort of can go off of.
Yeah, sure.
So
Sure.
people don't have to wait until the recording is uploaded.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a good starting point. Is everyone here a ManyChat user?
I think so, guys. Let's drop it in the comments. Are you drop the name of the platform you're using in the comments, whether you're on the Facebook group or you're on Zoom, ManyChat, Mobile Monkey. Oh, Mobile Monkey. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Zoom. Victoria's on Zoom. I'm sorry, Victoria. That's fine.
Okay, so there's a lot of ManyChat. I'm going to actually give you an integration. Hang on. I'll give you a list. I'll show you. I'll send a list of.
And guys, for those that are not on the Zoom call, don't worry. Everything will be. Emma K is ManyChat user as well. Everything will be sort of available in the next couple of days in the group. So don't worry that you're missing out.
Here, this is a good place to start. We don't. I don't know if Mobile Monkey supports Dialogflow.
Martins, no, Mobile Monkey is not by no means. Oh, Martins asks, is Mobile Monkey a bad choice? No.
No, it's not a bad choice. I just don't know if it supports Dialogflow. Certainly, I don't know enough about the platform, so I'm sending everybody a list of the platforms that we integrate with, which includes ManyChat and ChatFuel. And if you wanted an AI-powered website chat widget that wasn't Messenger, right? We have partners for that, and so. That's probably a good starting point for everybody. I just haven't spent enough time. There's so many platforms, so I haven't had a chance to play around with Mobile Monkey yet, or Active Chat. But I do know that Active Chat has a Dialogflow integration.
Josh, do you want to drop the main URL of your what's it called again? Medium channel as well, because there's some damn good content right on there.
Sure, thanks.
Because I really dig your content, and for the weekend coming up, everybody's in lockdown. This is definitely some stuff you want to read.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm working on like some like new educational stuff because the technology that's the thing. Like Google's like, and these companies like they're so invested in the advancement of AI, and there's so much that people building bots with these platforms. Like ManyChat or ChatFuel, that they can benefit from that technology, and it's just a matter of I'm in full educational mode to help make that technology just more accessible, right?
That's the whole thing. But again, I want to set the expectations, guys. Read Josh's content. Jump on Dialogflow, Janis, etc., etc.
Oh wait, you know the best place to is it okay if I leave
go.
The Janis community has a lot of like users and that are really helpful too.
Again, guys, for everybody who's not on the Zoom call, hey Rita, for everybody who's not on the Zoom call, this will all be added to the unit section, and next time just make sure you're on the Zoom call.
Yeah, and I would say in terms of that restaurant like example for Dialogflow, I'm going to give everybody a free pre-trained Dialogflow agent, so you won't even have to train AI. You just plug it in, and it'll work, and it'll connect to Botsheets, and it'll be like an AI-powered restaurant bot. So if you join the community, or I don't know, I can coordinate with you.
No,
yeah, and we can figure out a way to get that.
We'll get it working. I thought, oh, Michael Brandt's here as well. Michael, if you want to share anything in the thread on the group, then be more than welcome. Feel free. I was looking for this comment somewhere. Somebody asked me, dude, let Josh finish his presentation. Stop talking.
No, I like the back and forth. I mean.
Yeah, me too.
I will leave a link. I'll leave a link to my presentation, and hopefully it'll you can go through without me talking. But
Is there
You
anything,
want-
Josh?
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. I know. I just want to make sure that everybody sort of is getting the value that they
There was
want.
a question about multiple languages. I
Yeah,
saw, and yeah, Dialogflow supports like 20 different languages or something like that. So multi-language support for, yes.
I'm gonna deviate a little bit here. I read an interesting article yesterday from Neil Patel about going global with SEO.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting article, and it sort of made me think about sort of our approach for creating content for whatever the types of content we create. Is that so? Neil Patel is an SEO, great, and the sort of the backbone of his article was a friend of mine who works with Google told me the majority of searches in Google are not done in English.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Sure, it's sort of yeah, that's trivial. That makes sense. But when you think about it, is when we sort of break out of our comfort zones and start thinking, how could we sort of translate content for other countries than the English-speaking countries, we could sort of tap into gold.
Yeah.
The same is for building messenger bot flows, templates. I know there's a couple of us here that are agencies, etc. What if you would take your best templates and you find somebody in a different country who is able to help you sort of transcribe the actual flows and intents and then go to market with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that we had, so this like AI starter kit that we give out for free.
Oh, yeah.
I know people from all over the world have taken it and translated it into different languages already. I think they sell it though. Like it's ours is free. It's in English, but I think people are maybe some of them have given it away for free. But that is yeah. I mean, that's what people do. They translate it. It's kind of neat. I'd love to be able to like. It'd be cool to like somehow pull all these people together from all over the world and make it more of like a community project where everybody's contributing to one Dialogflow agent, or maybe have it in like you know what I mean? Like a community of Dialogflow trainers focused on just real estate or just restaurants or just e-commerce, working together.
Exactly. This was not, I didn't think this through, and whatever, I'm just going to drop it anyway. If there's anybody here from a different country outside the US, it could be, or English-speaking countries, and drop me sort of a direct message if you would be interested sort of in translating and training some badass e-com automations, ManyChat, Dialogflow. And then if you're from any other countries and you want to work on the restaurant bots with Josh, then drop us Australia. Yeah, but Australia sort of is still English niche. So I don't think Australia is going to cut it here. Again, I didn't think this through, so there's no plan, but do send me a message if you think this could be something you can work on. Mary Sloan asks, where do you find this thing that you gave away? Where can we find this thing, Josh?
I've got a bunch of giveaways.
We'll make sure we'll upload it to the unit section, Mary.
Yeah.
It will be available in the unit section. We'll ping you, no worries. JP Martindale, you might know him. He's got a question, e-commerce question. Yeah, you know him. JP, ask a question. You have e-commerce question and then it stops. Will Curtin, thank you, man. Rob Herget, can we get a URL to one of Josh's bots so we can try it? There's no bot on the website.
Yeah, I just go to Janis.ai and click the big orange button and start chatting with it. It'll get you. It'll get you connected to Dialog. The bot actually gets you connected to Dialogflow.
Awesome.
So that's the best example, I would think.
Awesome, Rinesh. Yeah, just go to the URL Josh shared here with /Janis and then abuse it from there. See if you can break it.
Yeah, try and break it.
That's always the best way to do it. Don't think you're gonna offend anybody. Just try to break it.
But that's funny. You know, when I talk about like having intents to understand users and you have to be prepared for those scenarios. So, you know, like a lot of things that users say to bots, like, you know, they try and test it. You know, what's the weather, or
No.
you know, they ask it like dumb questions, right? That are outside the scope of a bot's capabilities. And so we even train intents like that, like, you know, like if people say like testing or whatever like that, you know, the bot will respond like, are you trying to test how smart I am, right? Like it's those little things are delightful, right? For a user.
Hey, Josh, got a question. I got a question for you. Where do you think, sort of, if for those, and maybe whatever, for those that are thinking about getting into this whole bot thing, messenger bot thing, what would be your advice for them? What would be your advice for them in order to get started? How can they hit the ground running in general? What platform do you sort of?
For what?
Well, what platform to get into bot building, to build bots as a service? What is your advice?
Building bots. Oh man, I think it's just a combination of tools that really make like that work for you. Like, I think I again, like I mean, Dialogflow. I like Chatfuel. I like ManyChat. I mean, these are all good tools together. Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm just sort of, I wish I knew what I knew now before I got started. So I'm looking for some sort of inside information from you as sort of an experienced chat marketer or bot builder or whatever.
Yeah.
What are the tools? So if we want to get started now, or we already got started, what are the tools we should have? What's the ammunition we should have sort of to be more efficient? What tools are you currently working with that make your life easier?
Oh, but probably just, yeah. I mean, a lot of well, look, there's a couple of things. I mean, there's a collection of tools that we use that just make us more operationally efficient. Like Slack is great, and that was where we started. In fact, we built Janis by collaborating entirely in Slack, so it's great for team communication, collaboration. You know, I like Trello. But a lot of the things we built with for Janis, like the capabilities we built for Janis, were because a lot of the bot tools that we wanted to use just didn't exist. So, I mean, we built tools that would solve our own problems for building bots, right? Like, you know, just little things too, right? Like every time a bot doesn't understand, I want to get notified. Or if a user's angry or frustrated, you know, we built a tool that looks for, you know, monitors for negative sentiment and alerts us. Like those little things, you know, we built a lot of those tools ourselves, but we integrate them into our existing workflow. And I think that's key as a bot. Like when you're building a bot business, like try and use tools that already integrate into your existing workflow. Slack is good. You know, that's why things like Botsheets or anything with Google Sheets is good because you already use Google Sheets.
Hey, are you using Zapier or Integromat in some scenarios?
I don't use any of those.
No.
But I think they're very useful tools. Like if you're a bot maker, use them, right? Like ManyChat. Between those tools, I think Integromat is probably the better tool. Has a bit of more of a learning curve than Zapier.
Yep.
But it's more powerful, and again, it's like it's you can do a lot more with it. It's a lot more flexible.
Correct. Hey, JP Martindale's got a question here. How do we move from quick replies in chat to voice-based actions with Janis, Botsheets, Dialogflow?
How do we move from quick replies in chat?
I think the question is, I don't think we can move from quick replies in chat. I think if I translate this question, I would say, how can we sort of leverage Dialogflow for voice?
Yeah. Okay. So that's probably a better way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, it's right now we haven't added support for Google Assistant, but it would work the same way. Just to say, you know, you would train a Dialogflow agent, you connect that Dialogflow agent to a bot, and that bot could be, you know,
Google Assistant, or it could be a ManyChat bot, or it could
Exactly.
be
Let's
a web
venture.
chat.
Let's,
You have all these different channels, but the brain is used for all of them.
let's venture a little bit into voice. I don't have anything with voice, by no means, but my bot is connected to a Facebook page. Now, when I sort of want to sort of duplicate, or when I want to sort of also be available on, let's say, Google Voice or whatever it's called, or the Amazon thing, Alexa,
Yeah.
how would that work? Because I would then, as a user, would I ask Alexa, first of all, hey, fire up Josh's bot or Rutger's bot or whatever, and then ask the question?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Alexa experience.
How would it work with Google?
But Google Assistant, it's they're basically Google Assistant is the bot, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bot and then what you're building are their Google actions. So they're like, it's basically like skills, or whatever Google Assistant the bot understands consists of knowledge provided by other bot makers. Do you know what I mean? You're adding capabilities for Google Assistant, but Google Assistant is the bot.
Okay, but how does Google Assistant then know to sort of use my my flows or my solutions out of those?
Yeah, I think you need to like,
I don't know either. So.
It's like if I said play a certain song to Google Assistant, Google Assistant would be able to look across all of its integrations with like all of its capabilities, which are provided by developers. So let's say Spotify has an integration, or I don't know, like whatever the channel. There's multiple platforms that are building skills for Google Assistant. So you have one point of contact, that's Google Assistant, and it taps into all these different knowledge sources. So you say, play Stairway to Heaven, right? It'll be like Google Assistant be like, oh, Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin. I found I can play that on Spotify.
Yeah. But then the tap into the Spotify. So I don't think this would be sort of the right moment to dive into.
No, voice is a little bit different, but it does use the same brain. I think that's the main point.
Exactly, but we don't we're just not comfortable enough to understand. We've got another couple questions here. Quick one.
Yeah.
Mirko, so I need ManyChat and Dialogflow and Botsheets. Which is free and which is the tools are paid? ManyChat has subscription. What about the other tools? Mirko.
Botsheets is a free plan. Google's Dialogflow is a free plan. Janis is a free plan. You'd have to pay ManyChat to use any of them. They charge to connect anything.
Exactly. Are we going to get into how Janis AI works with Dialogflow? I think we did that.
Yeah. Janis is like an AI manager for Dialogflow.
Exactly. Josh, when will be for eBill will be released next week, hopefully. Mirko, so I can use this in websites and Messenger and everywhere I can use ManyChat. Yeah, so I can use this, assuming this is Dialogflow and the AI. The AI Google Sheets is connected to the vehicle you're using to build your chat experiences, whether it's ChatView, ManyChat, MobileMonkey, you name it. So yes, I hope that answers your question. Can I use this on websites and Messenger and everywhere I can use ManyChat? I hope that answered your question. How do we get Janis? Mary, I think we answered that question. Where now I learn is, yeah, so Mary asks, where and how do we learn all this? Dialogflow, Janis, etc. Mary Sloan, make sure you check out the links Josh shared here in the thread. Make sure you read his Medium articles, and then you should be good to go.
Yeah, or you can start from our integrations page. That if you're using one, if you're familiar with one of our platforms or want to learn about one of those platforms, just click that and it'll take you down a learning path.
Technical question from Ian. How well does Botsheets work for a larger bot as there is an API restriction on requests per 100 a second?
It's pretty good. I mean, if you're doing like a high volume of requests at like a lot of requests at the same time, I would probably move to a database. But it's definitely like a real database, not a real data, just like an SQL database or a Mongo database. But like anything, like it's ideal for small businesses, doing, occasional requests like restaurant orders, they're not getting a ton of requests at once.
And it makes sense. Look, it's still Sheets, it's still Google Sheets. It's not sort of, you shouldn't use it for enterprise or high volumes if you're sort of dependent on actual speed. So that makes sense. Jonathan Weston, specific to the restaurant bot, does this connect to the restaurant POS or does it run separately?
Sorry?
Specific to the restaurant bot, does this connect to the restaurant POS or does it run separately?
There's a bunch of like point of sale integrations coming for that template, but right now you would use that with you could use that with Stripe or PayPal, and the transactions are done through Messenger. But given it's the idea is that you can get a restaurant up and running very quickly, and then you would do the point of sale integrations after. But it's transactional immediately, and I think that's the main goal for restaurants is make money immediately because they're struggling, right? So,
got it. So the short answer is no. It doesn't sort of tap into POS systems by default, but that's something we're working on.
Yeah, exactly. Different integration modules for it.
Got it. Bill Barnes asked, are we going to get into how Janis AI works with Dialogflow? I think we did that. Bill, if we didn't and you're still here, let us know. Mary's got a lot of questions.
I didn't get too much into it, but the short answer of that is Janis is like, you connect Dialogflow to Janis, you connect a bot to Janis. Janis helps you connect, train, monitor, fix problems fast, retain your customers. So it helps you manage an AI integration. It makes it easier.
I love it. I love it. Right on, guys. We're 90 minutes in.
Okay.
I think we can talk all day about this, but drop us any questions you have. In the meantime, I'm just going to say, again, I'm just going to repeat it once more. We'll make sure that the recording will be uploaded to the group. Everything will be in the unit section. We're going to take a few days sort of to digest everything, and we're going to make sure that all the links to templates, etc., will be available for you guys in the unit section of the group. So don't worry about that.
I just want to say this is a great crowd. Like you guys are amazing. Like really smart questions, good questions. Like appreciate all the interest and just like a desire to want to learn what it's all about. I think that's a good move. You're thinking about things that are going to set you up for success for the future in the bot space. So
100%.
The best way is just to dive in like this. So
try to break it, and that's sort of how I got into it. Not necessarily to try to break it, but there is a learning curve. Whether you're just doing ManyChat or you're connecting Dialogflow or you're connecting Google Sheets or Botsheets, whatever. There is a learning curve, and as soon as you sort of are willing to go sort of to attack that learning curve, you will learn and you will set yourself apart because we're in a blue ocean, guys. We're 100% in the blue ocean.
Think of it like SEO, right? Like there's skill to that. You got to be good at SEO. And there's people that can, you can scratch the surface with it, or you can go really deep with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Start with scratching the surface. That's what I would say. Start somewhere. Start with scratching the surface.
Start with templates. Start with our starter kit, because it does help you understand how it works and makes it easy for you to benefit immedately.
Exactly. I think we're going to use that as a ending. Josh, I'll leave the last word to you. Is there anything you want to? Is there anything? Any closing thoughts?
Any closing thoughts? Yeah, I just don't be scared that it's AI. It'll help you. Be patient with it. There's a lot of people out there that are working with it and can be helpful. I'll do my best to help you. I will give you links to, you know, anything that'll help you learn, videos. And that's my goal, is to help you benefit from it. So hope this was a good introduction and really appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, dude, thank you for being here from your basement, lockdown, and in the
That's
basement,
okay.
all the way from Canada. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks.
everybody for being here. Again, I think we mentioned it now, unit section, recording, links, everything will be available. In the meantime, if you got any questions, make sure you tag Josh, you tag me. I'm going to sort of go out, gonna enjoy.
Go to the garden.
Go in the garden, exactly. I want to say I'm going to go out. I'm going to go for a beer, but it's a garden, beer in the garden, a beer garden. Well, there we go. Right on, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you for Josh. Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you on the next session. Be
Thanks,
safe.
guys.
Stay inside. And
All right.
bye, guys. Thanks.
Take care.